All right, guys. I've got Jake Deere with me on the Google Meet, and we've been talking about character for the last couple of weeks since we came back from winter break. And I told you guys last week that we were going to talk about details this week, and the first guy I thought of when I thought of details was Jake Deere, and I want to give you a little bit of a background on who he is and kind of where he's come from and how I've gotten to know him and why I think he's the perfect candidate to talk to you guys about details and how details have a relationship with your character. Jake Deere started coaching at Florida Christian College. This is where I attended college. That's how we met. He became my head coach my junior year in college and had a lot of success, particularly after I graduated. The school and the team had a lot of success post me playing. He actually brought me on to help him coach, which I was very grateful for. After his time at FCC, he moved on to Francis Marion as an associate head coach there. And from there, he went over to Texas at UT Tyler, had success there and was there for about 5 years. And most recently, he has moved on to Point University, which is in West Point, Georgia, which is where he's at right now. And they're having a big turnaround in their culture within their basketball program. And I put most of that on Coach Deere and his ability to change the culture and change the direction of a program, which is exactly what he did here in Kissimmee at FCC. He's doing that again at Point University. And so, Coach, with that introduction, I just want you to maybe talk to the guys about your season. I know a lot of our guys are big sports fans, big basketball fans. So if you want to just take a minute and talk about how your season's going so far.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you having me today, Coach Shane. Like Coach said, I'm at Point University. We're an NAI school here. We play in the Appalachian Athletic Conference, schools in West Virginia, North and South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and Kentucky. So quite a bit of travel. When we took over the job about a year and a half ago, we were last in our league. We habitually were last in our league. I think we were 1-19 in conference play the year I took the job. And so currently we sit 16-4. We're 12-4 in conference, competing to win the league this year. Our guys are excited about that. Our administrators are excited about that. Our alumni are excited about that. And I'm excited about that. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of hard work, and it's fun to watch it pay off for our guys and for our team. I'm actually coming out of practice, so that's why I'm in a hoodie right now. But we go to Tennessee Wesleyan University tomorrow, which is up near Chattanooga, and so that'll be a big game for us. So, yeah, our guys are playing well right now. They're playing together. They're buying into how we want to play. Guys are accepting their roles, and so having a lot of success right now. So it's a lot of fun.
Very good, very good. And for the guys that are going to watch this, I didn't mention this in the initial introduction, but Jake also has a background in admissions. He was also the director of admissions at FCC, and so from a middle schooler's perspective, those of you who have aspirations of going on and playing sports in high school and then hopefully moving on and playing sports at the college level, we know, because we talk about this all the time, before you can become a college athlete, you have to be a college student. And so you can't worry about playing a sport at any college or university if you're not accepted into the school in the first place. And so I can't think of a better example of someone who knows both sides of the college experience than Coach Deere here. So it's really great to have your input with that. So again, we're talking about with our middle school group here, the connection between character, which is a very big, very broad idea. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of things that go into making up your character. But we're trying to focus on details right now and how, from a college coach perspective, how important details are to what you do every day with your current athletes that are on your team, with your coaches, with your assistants, and then even with recruits who these guys that you're potentially looking to bring on. I guess the question that I would ask you to start is, why are they important? From your perspective, why do you think they're important?
Yeah, so I think success lies in details. I think for everything. And I think a great quote to start with is from an organization called Point Guard College. One of the things that they teach is how you do anything is how you do everything. You know, how you do anything is how you do everything. And so I think for a young man or a young gal, trying to figure out why details are important from the time you wake up in the morning, do you make your bed? Are you sloppy about how you go about presenting yourself day in, day out? We talk about in our program a lot about margin. And what is margin? Margin is a little bit of time that we need in order to be prepared for anything that we do. And so if you're constantly running around or trying to prepare with no margin, whether that be assignments or whether that be showing up to school or practice, like anything, you're always going to need a little bit more time. And so I think broad scope success is in the details. And one of the things we talk about with our guys right away, as soon as they get to campus, you're a brand. You're your own brand. And as a coach, I'm investing in a brand. And I think that would go for a recruit, that would go for high school programs that I recruit from, that would go from junior colleges I recruit from, is are you on time? Do you do what you say you're going to do? If I call you, do you call back? If I text you, do you text back? If I call, what kind of music is on your phone voice recorder? If I ask you to send me information, is it complete? Is it detailed? Is the spelling correct? Is it punctuated? There's so much you learn about a person just by minute details, just by the small things.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's spot on. And I think it's important that they hear that from probably someone other than mom and dad or, Coach Smar, because it seems obvious because we say it so much, but it's just you're indicating to us right now that it's true, it's real. So talking about that with your players or recruits, what role do you think noticing those things, what role does those attention to details that those guys have, what role does that play in you putting trust in them? Like, how does that work? How does that manifest?
Yeah. And so, I think trust is everything. Trust is everything in a relationship. Trust is everything from a teacher to student. Trust is everything from a coach to a player. And so coaches play players that they trust.
Right.
And we want to play kids that we know what we're going to get from them. That's probably the best way to say it. And so I think that's the details. It's what can I count on from this guy in a game? What can I count on from this guy? And so for me, what does that look like in terms of playing time or scholarship or all that? I think in the recruitment process, it's the amount of money you get. A kid that I really trust, that I know I'm going to get a lot from. He's detail oriented. I know what I can count on. He's going to get a high dollar scholarship. A kid that's a little sketchy, that's not so detail oriented, maybe has some grade issues. Number one, we're going to ask, is it worth it to bring that guy in our program? Number two, his scholarship's not going to be as significant as somebody that we know what we're going to get from him. I don't know if that gets to your question.
It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. It's kind of like the same approach that these guys, I'm sure, can relate to with just any kind of relationship. You're only going to be able to invest as much as you feel like you're probably going to be able to get back. So, yeah. And sometimes you don't have any other better gauge than how well is this person, how well is this kid paying attention to some of the details. I think one of the real world applications that I think of, and this is one of the stories I try to tell the guys, and maybe you can piggyback off this idea, is if I have a team, let's say it's a middle school team, and I know that as a student, these guys don't really do well with details. When it comes down to playing in a basketball game where we need to call a 30-second timeout and draw up a play, my level of expectation of them being able to fulfill what I need them to do is going to be very low, based on what I've seen them do in the classroom. Because the translation, we talk about this a lot. Sometimes you can't just flip the switch where I'm going to do what I want to do in the classroom, but when it comes to doing something else, I'm going to be better at it. That's rarely the case. I would say that it's rarely the case. Would you agree with that? Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And I go back to the quote I gave you at the beginning: "How you do anything is how you do everything." And so I think if you talk about a switch and talk about details and paying attention, for instance, guys that turn in incomplete assignments don't get a lot of playing time with me, because when we do call a timeout, they're probably going to forget the information that was given. Guys that habitually show up late or late at all, they run. And if they run more than once, they're dismissed from our program because we can't count on them. Coaches, teachers, employers, any facet of life, you talk about execution. And I think execution in the context of school is all about, okay, you have a test coming. How well did you prepare for the test? And we're going to find that out by the grade that you get on the test. A grade is simply how well do you know material. It has nothing to do about self-worth, any of that. It's how well you know material. And you show your level of execution, investment, attention to detail by how you perform on that test. Same thing in a basketball game, et cetera, et cetera. One of the things we're dealing with as a program right now, as we get to February, it's tournament time. And we talk a lot about the teams that win in tournament time are the teams that execute within the half court. Every team that we play is going to know what we run. So again, it's about how we do what we do. How do we screen? How do we cut? How do we pass? How do we catch? It's nothing complicated, but yet it is complicated. Do you catch with two hands? When you catch, do you jab between the defender's legs so you get space out of a pivot? When you pass, do you pass outside away from the defense? When you cut, do you cut as hard as you can? And I think in the context of middle school, it's again, I'm a brand. Everybody's a brand. How am I representing my brand? Do I turn my stuff in on time? Is it to the best of my ability? Because when I turn in that paper, it represents me. It represents my team. Or it represents my family. Yeah. And so we talk about that all the time, daily within our program, that how you do anything is how you do everything. I believe there is no switch. I think if you play hard, you're probably a great student. You're probably a great teammate. You're probably a great friend. And I think if you're late, you're somebody that can't be counted on. You're not somebody that we value as a part of our program, or somebody that we're going to put a lot of investment in. Because I think at some point when we need you, you're not going to be there.
Right. And sometimes you don't have a second chance to explain yourself.
Right.
Just like in a game. I mean, the clock's going to go dead at some point. That's
Right.
all very valuable, Coach. I truly appreciate your time. I know that you're busy, especially right now, like you said, as you get ready for the tournament coming up. Congratulations on the season so far. You guys are doing a great job. And I'm sure that the highlight of your entire resume is coaching me for 2 years. I should have probably started with that. But no, with all jokes aside, I really do appreciate your time and your input. I'm sure the guys watching this are going to appreciate it as well. So good luck to you, and good luck to the rest of the season, Coach.
Yeah. Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.